Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth here. So I have been doing a digital detox, social media detox, whatever you want to call it, for now over 40 days. I'm kind of on 41 days without using social media, without going into the programs. I did, I guess, kind of technically break it a little bit last week because I had to log in to find out an event for like 4th of July and stuff like that, where the address was posted on an event page in Facebook. So, you know, that I've been a little silent lately, and I've just been a little low key, doing a lot of introspection in addition to just taking a break. And I think what kind of caused this was that I posted a picture on Memorial Day, which was in regards to like the lives lost, of our American soldiers fighting in various wars. And, that picture got a lot of feedback to it, positive as well as negative, more so negative because, living here in the East Coast, and then some of my European friends who are really like far left liberals had to just, completely take the picture into a different direction of the comments, which they're fully entitled to do that. It's freedom of speech, so, I'm completely fine doing that. But what I realized was like that day and then the next day, I like spent time reading this stupid shit that had nothing to do with that original post, in addition to nothing, productive for, things like well-being of my life, that I realized that I started wasting more time, and then it's like I felt like I had to defend myself, and I was like, you know what? I'm just done. I'm just done with this. I think too, I kind of found out my ex-husband got married in May, while I was on a trip in Arizona, and I kind of had this meltdown for a moment, in the desert on this Catholic church in Tucson. And so I was just like, I was just done. I just needed to get away, to start to remove things from my life that no longer served me. And social media kind of included that. And that included YouTube. I didn't even blog or write during this time. I had a guest blog piece that I had to post, so I had to do that for my travel blog. I obviously haven't done YouTube videos. Since then, I have videos that I filmed maybe a couple months ago that still have yet to be uploaded. That will be going on. But I was just kind of done. I was just done, and, I'm just sick of, social media has made us monsters, but I'm also just sick of a lot of the problems in America that's making people even more ugly than they are. And some of this I think is really inspired by Hollywood. Like, I went to a movie, and I was just looking at the previews, and I was like, God, it used to be back in like the 90s where it's like stupid movies and or kind of graphic horror films we're the minority, and now I feel like those things are in the majority, and the really good quality films or historic films about historical references, whether or not they might be true, whatever, World War II movies have some form of truth to them, but they probably throw in a love story and things like that were not true. And so anyways, I was just done. I was like, this world it's a perception thing. I understand, I know. But I'm like, it's just getting so ugly. It's such an ego-driven issue with social media, and I just didn't want to be around it. And so I took that time to remove myself from writing. I just didn't care about things like hits on the blog. I didn't care if I got subscribers on YouTube. I just took the time to kind of detox, to relax, to kind of reset myself and refocus and think about certain things. And I kind of found I a passion that I have even more now for historical things and vintage clothing, which I'm slightly wearing that right now, but also you can tell by the wall behind me, I have a lot of just old stuff on the wall that I'm going to probably be using these props and dresses for my blogs and the photography, and kind of looking at the clothes and getting inspired, like what type of recipes can I create with this. Obviously, if the dress is from Ireland or something like that, then, I'm getting inspired to do a more Irish dish. I actually love that song, Scarborough Fair by Simon and Garfunkel. And so I just kept, like, in May, I kept listening and listening to it. And then I found this really cool green vintage dress that was from the 60s. It was in, like, perfect mint condition. And so I had to buy this thing. And so I kept looking at this dress, and it just had, like, kind of a pagan feel to it. And obviously it was like this deep forest green. And living in the Northwest, our forests are, very deep green. And so I think it was the combination of that music and being in nature that it inspired me, to create a kind of Scarborough Fair potato dish and stuff. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I've just been sitting and thinking and analyzing, not only in terms of my life, but like global things as well. Some people have talked to me like, have you seen the debates? And I'm like, I've had no clue they were going on because I literally have been offline for over a month now, 40 days. And here's the thing. During this, it's not an experiment, but during this experience, I have noticed that for the most part, life is kind of normal. I mean, you do get some batshit crazy people, especially here in Seattle, that are not, like you have the guys on heroin in the streets that are like throwing shit. So like obviously they're out in left field in a different category in life because they're not mentally with it. But like for the most part, things are just kind of normal. And the funny thing is, when I've experienced that or analyzed it, I just can't help but think or question or ponder that social media, which is a virtual reality, has really made us like, well, we live in a fantasy land through social media for sure, but I really feel like it just pumps a lot of stuff in our head that's kind of imaginary. And for some, that's not always the truth or the case because, for example, there is some form of awareness that is brought out on social media, like whether it's a political article or you're seeing, some video of some horrific things happening to animals or things across the country, like it can bring some form of awareness, and that's a great thing. But for the most part, it's just an ego-flaring type of device that taps into your lower brain, the lizard brain, that makes you want to compete with your theory with everyone else's and just become a shithead and an asshole yourself. And I hate using the profanity, but it was like I was at a boiling point. I was like, I'm just sick of this. Like, we don't treat people like this in normal life, and to some degree it's going on fairly well. There are some instances when you get into far left progressive politics, you do see this in everyday life that can get ugly, like people wanting to fire people over certain things. I'm not really in that environment because I work in fitness, but I hear about it through my clients who work at corporations. So that part can get, pretty ugly and nasty. But for like the day-to-day type of stuff, it's pretty much okay. Like, I don't know, things have just seemed normal, and I really kind of don't want to go back online. Like, to be honest, I feel like my quality of life and my well-being has increased with the decrease and or the elimination of social media. And during this time, I've come to realize, because I don't even spend that much time on social media as it is, but I would like post a picture a few days a week on Instagram and stuff like that, and post my blogs and YouTube videos on Facebook, or I go on vacation and post pictures. But like, what I realized is that I stopped wasting time and I started being more productive through the creation of things that I've always wanted to do. And this is the one thing that always irks me, whether it's in regards to like people trying to get healthier or people that like they want to do things outside of work. It's like, if you can actually look and self-actualize how much time you waste and piss away on social media, not only with posting, but also with arguing with other people on stuff. If you take that out of your life or just drastically decrease it, like have some form of self-control and maybe log in once a day and have a 10-minute limit, then maybe you would have the more time to work on your art projects or to do the things that you want to do or work on your lawn, like whatever creative thing you want to do. That's such a huge thing. And that was such a thing that I learned in Germany too, is how much time, like people in America complain, oh God, I worked 15-hour work days, but like how much time are they actually spending on working and how much is actually unproductive time? To where places in Germany, yeah, they go in at 9 and they leave at 5, but they're not logging in online during that time and they're not online shopping on their work computers. So they're like doing their thing. They're very focused. They get it done and then they leave. They enjoy a nice lunch break. They have more work-life balance for the most part, especially in like a normal industry. Industries like banking and real estate, like those are always just hectic and stuff in other countries, just as it is here in America. So I guess it was like a fun little experiment. And you know what? There was no, I guess at this point in my life, I have discipline and self-control. Like, there was no urgency to have to log in online. And there was no like, oh my God, what is happening? Or, oh my God, people need to know what to do. Like, I didn't announce it. I wasn't like, hey, I'm taking a break. Like, I didn't feel like I had to do a public announcement because it's like, who cares? Nobody cares about me, really. Just an average mundane person. I told some people, I was like, hey, if you have an event, just text it to me or something, like, or send it through Facebook Messenger. Like, I have used Facebook Messenger for a little bit toward the end of June. Like, for the most part, the end of May through, like, most of June, I wasn't on it. And then there were just certain things like, rock climbing events. I was like, oh, just send it through there or just text me it. So, those are things, it was just great. I don't know. I'm going to continue to kind of stay low key for some of the summer because I'd rather be enjoying the summer or enjoying my time creating things rather than wasting and spending time. And I'm not trying to knock social media, but I guess it's like I've gone through these experiences. Like when I was in India studying yoga and when I was living in the yoga ashram in Brisbane, Australia, when you spend your time either working on creative forces, like there you're creating a new person. When you live in these ashrams, it's like a new spiritual development. When you spend time and you remove yourself from all the chaos that's around you and you're just kind of in peace in your own little environment, you start to see things from a different light and a different angle, and you start to see how, I don't know, just weird our society is, especially for today. It's like, people are tech bots. Their minds are polluted by vulgar pornography. Video games have like ruined people's minds. Movies are so violent. It's like how much dopamine and all that crap is hitting our brain with this boom, boom, boom all the time that it's like we are emotional high addicts. And I'm sorry, but I've done this before in the past when I've been in my 20s and more emotional and probably a little more self-absorbed. It's like the need to have to post your life story all the time on social media is using social media as a form of a psychologist or a form of getting some form of attention or like from other people. And that fulfillment is due to, you need a spiritual fulfillment. And a lot of that will come through the development of yourself in addition to the development of God. I don't want to get into that debate on focusing on the inner self because I know like the Christian community, knocks on the meditation and yoga community because it's too much self-reflection, and there's a balancing act with everything. So I don't know if you've done a social media detox. If you want to join me, please do. Maybe we should just make an event group out of it or something like that. But I don't know. It's great. Like, if you find that social media stresses you out more than it enhances your life, then it's probably a good idea to pull away, whether it's temporary. I'm not saying permanently, or maybe you just limit your amount of logins. If you are at a point where you're addicted to logging in and you can't live without social media, or like you're lying in bed and you're bored and you need to know what's going on in other people's lives and stuff like that, like I just don't find that to be healthy. I think like humans are simple people, And our minds and our brains have been taken over a lot with simple stimulus. And like, we just don't sit and think anymore. You know, probably 400 or 500 years ago, when people were living by candlelight, sitting in the dark, they were sitting and thinking quite a bit. And during the Age of Enlightenment, the 1700s, there was that balance of the logical, like academic part of life, in addition to like the spiritual notions and foundations in life that, um, they were able to create or to study or research or discover really amazing things. And a lot of that has to do with just being able to sit, think, and reflect and not have to have, um, you know, external stimulus through this virtual community to help uplift us. So, anyways, these are some thoughts that I have. I will be back. I'll start to post some videos. Some are, like I said, a couple months old. I filmed them back in like March, April, and they will be on their way to get uploaded. But I'm coming back. It's going to be slow. I'm not going to spend a ton of time online because I really don't want to at this point. And I would just eliminate it permanently. I even thought about just not doing YouTube anymore. I was like, and I was like, well, I kind of want to continue doing this. So, anyways, thoughts that I have. Thank you for listening, liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you can please subscribe to this channel or support me on Patreon. I don't take money from corporations or anything like that, so anything that you would like to contribute would be greatly appreciated. All right, have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.